20 years ago was 2005. My life prior to that had been as a professional footballer and salesperson up until 1995. Holly's sister's husband was working for a guy that owned a cleaning company in Sydney. I happened to meet the gentleman, his name was Todd Jakes, and at a party, and he told me a lot about his business. He asked me would I like to start up a cleaning operation in Queensland with him. To be honest, I wasn't quite sure about cleaning. It was a low cost of capital type entry to get into the business. So we gave it a go. I realised that we were going to need another person to help support me in the job. Fortunately enough, Damien came on board with me when I had the office equipment dealership. I had a good work ethic, very good on sales, very good on follow-up, understood customer service. So that's how it came to be. Yeah.
Definitely language barrier. Back in those days, we worked with a lot of people from different ethnic backgrounds. Language barrier.
One of the biggest challenges to overcome was how to get to the person who makes the decision. And the ruler letter was great. It was a silly letter with a simple question, but the big thing was we could then phone up when we talked to someone that was a gatekeeper for the owner or the manager of the business. What it really meant was that we were able to get to talk to the manager. So that probably was the challenge. Once we got through that part, we quickly started getting clients. What I didn't think back then that we would get to the size that we are now. I think where we are now as a revenue sort of company is twice as big as I ever thought we'd ever be. And it's funny now, I think we can be twice as big again. Really proud of what we've achieved. It's not a business that shouldn't be valued on what its revenue is. It really should be valued, how happy its staff are and more human metrics, I guess. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't sure that we would diversify as much as we had. In particular, in the early days, it was all hospitality, but leading up to now, councils, industrial, and certain.
I think we've been able to improve so many lives within the business. I think we've got really good people working inside the business with me and Damien in the business rather than for me and Damien in the business. I really want everyone here to have a better job with better pay. I think I was really proud of the way we got through the COVID debacle, that's what I would call it. We had a commitment to looking after our staff.
Probably our growth in general, from day one to now, as well as our staffing numbers. In the early days it was myself and Mark only, and now we've grown to 360 employees, so it's quite an achievement in itself.
I think, some of the early deals, Damien did a great transaction, won Twin Towns RSL down the coast early in the piece. Greenbank, which is one of our largest and first clients, was great. It was a great feeling. I think the next big one for us was Gold Coast City Council, which was our first foray into a totally commercial environment with employees and contractors.
I'd have to say getting Twin Towns in the early days from a cold call, we landed a really good contract and that gave us the experience to be able to look after clients such as the Broncos, Greenbank RSL, Redlands Sports, Redlands RSL, which we're still there today at all of those.
I think my leadership style has been, largely affected by some good coaches that I had when I played football. Wayne Bennett is probably one of the better ones. So people understand that there is a plan and there is some disciplines that we have to do to make that plan work. We have to train at certain things and make sure we execute properly, but then also not forget to celebrate when you get the wins.
I think I've certainly learned to delegate and trust in my staff that they'll get the job done. In the early years, I probably tried to do too much myself, so delegation.
Customer service. Well, it has been constant, but we've been, A+ and probably A- with it at stages. So it's just a matter of, Wayne Bennett says, it's a matter of sometimes just not forgetting what made you successful. Believe it or not, it is easy to forget what made you successful and stop doing it. Full service guarantees when it comes to cleaning are vital and they can be adapted anywhere. When we have a problem, quickly return a call, quickly get to site to meet with the person about the problem, quickly resolve it, and make sure that there's a system put in place to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Customer service for me, I think that's number one, and just not letting people down.
Holly. She had a good business in Sydney and moved to Brisbane, more because I wanted to be in Queensland and because obviously my son Sam was here. But more than that, she's a business person herself. She's been a good confidant. We talk about things. She's been very supportive, but not only supportive, but willing to get her hands dirty. You know, when we won Port of Brisbane, we were struggling for staff. I asked, would you help me with this? Yep, only too happy. People look at that as being a bit funny, as the boss's wife being out cleaning, but I think it shows, exactly what our beliefs are. I believe cleaning's a very honourable profession. So does Holly. We're not embarrassed to do it. Yeah, Holly first. Damo, yeah. Really good partner, we're good mates. Johnny Gatlin, it's funny, Damien and John both joined me as salespeople in about 1997. John had been doing sales work, he applied for a sales trainee job. So good to be, whatever it is, 30 odd years later, still mates. It's good to see, Damien as a director, John's general manager, key blokes in the company. That's really good for me. I love that we have those long-standing relationships. And
I strongly believe that we can be twice the size that we are now. Look, not only in turnover but in staffing, and I believe that we can be one of Queensland's leading property services provider.
Much larger. I think we've really laid a really strong, solid foundation. I think we've got the right teams and the right people and right teams in the right places and somewhat at the right time. I think, leading the 2032 Olympics, there'll be a lot of work. We're nice and snug now with a lot of the government expenditure, which we weren't. We're nice and snug with a lot of clients that we get repeat business from there. So I really can see, a lot of growth there.
I think number one would be learning the value of customer service. If you don't, your competitors will. I think also the value of hard work and things take time. I started here as the first client service manager in this company. I then went on to be the operations manager, followed through to be the general manager and then to director and co-owner. So these things take time and a lot of hard work.
I think it's really important that they are looking to see what the market is doing, self-improvement courses, learning whatever they can.